This episode of the Bowser Journal, we harvested our 25 Cornish cross chickens. So come with us as we talk about the day and how it all went down. So come with us. We are back from vacation. We went to Cancun and did some dives, I think 6 in total. We'll talk about that in the next few videos. We've been meaning to put this video together for probably about 2 weeks or so. We harvested our 25 Cornish cross chickens. You'll remember them, we ordered them, we had the video, we picked them up at the post office, we brought them home, we raised them from little baby chicks. We were concerned about the harvesting day, and we didn't shoot any film on the day of harvesting because it was our first time harvesting, and we just want to make sure that 100% of our focus was on them because it was going to be a tragic day for them, and we wanted to make sure that it was as quick and as painless as possible, and we didn't want to have being distracted by where's the camera set up, are we getting this shot, getting that shot. This was it was a monumental day for them and a monumental day for us.
It was hard.
It was hard for us.
It was very hard.
Yes.
Because we love our animals, and like Chuck said, we got them from babies and raised them for 8 weeks. And we knew going into homesteading that this is a part of it, but it was tough. It was very tough. I didn't actually do any of the harvesting. I don't know what you want to call it. Chuck did all of that, and then I did the cleaning out and prepping the chicken for freezing.
From the day that we got the chickens, it was always going to be our concern, would we be able to go through with harvesting these chickens? And that's kind of one of the reasons why we picked the Cornish cross. I think we said this in several videos, because we knew that if we didn't, they would die and suffer. We didn't want them to suffer.
They get so large. They're the way that they're.
The last 2 weeks or so, their legs were huge.
Yeah. And they start having leg problems, they start having heart problems, right. And some of their hearts were pretty massive when we were going through the evisceration process. So they were happy up until the second.
They had a very good day. I mean, lots of very good days and one bad day.
Yeah.
So the day that it actually happened was a friend of ours who wanted to also learn how to harvest chickens came over and helped us. So we set up 3 stations, and I did the harvesting station, for lack of a better term. Some people call it other things, but
humanely euthanizing them.
Yes. So we took what was called a comforting cone, which looks like a big metal funnel. So we brought the chicken coop over towards the whole area, and we one by one would bring them out. I said a prayer over each one. I thanked each one for their sacrifice. We watched Justin Rhodes' video on how to dispatch them humanely, and so there was no pain. So after I got them calmed down, I would put them in the comforting cone. Their head would come out the bottom, and they immediately
it kind of puts them in a very calm, not comatose, but
and the reason it does that is because
subdued state.
And the reason it does that is because it even works with dogs. You know, we have Sasha, our female shepherd, gets real anxious when there's thunderstorms. So we have this thing called a thunder blanket or thunder vest.
Yeah.
And it's just a vest that you put around her, and it kind of it squeezes her just a little bit, just kind of like almost like a hug, and it calms her right down. So it's the same kind of principle there. And then so once I put them in the comforting cone, I wait for a couple minutes, and they kind of just kind of relax. And then when they relax, with 5 pounds of pressure and a very sharp knife, I just cut them right at their jugular, and they immediately would pass out. And then we had to wait. Not feel anything at all.
They're gone after that.
Yeah, and then after 3 minutes, you gotta let them bleed out. And then at that point, we took them over to the scalder. We actually purchased. We were going to use our turkey fryer that we bought years and years ago to do Thanksgiving turkeys, but it's on its last leg, so we bought a new, better one and a new, better pot. So we would scald. We actually pre-rinsed them, and then put them in the scalder for, I think it was 15 seconds.
It wasn't long, like 30 seconds.
Max. Yeah, and just long enough so that it would soften up for the next station, because the next station was going to be the plucking station. So for the first probably 5 or 6, we plucked them by hand. So we could say we've done that, and we've got the T-shirt. Then we realized tell you what, the true definition of a friend is somebody who'll come over and actually run your deep feathering station for you. That's a true. Thank you, Scott. So when we were doing that, Scott realized that one of the friends from our old church had a plucker, and so he went and got that for us, and we did the rest with the plucker, which sped up the process immensely. And after that got plucked, then Barbie went and did the.
It came to the evisceration station. So that's where you take out all of the insides and get it ready. So it looks like a chicken that you get basically from the store. You clean it out real good. You cut off the neck and the feet, which we saved, and we actually made chicken stock from those.
Right.
We used the blood on our gardens.
And the feathers went in our compost pile.
Yes.
So no part of the chickens went to waste. We used everything, even the innards or the bowels and the innards. We buried them in specific spots in our yard where we're going to be planting our moringa trees. So that way they'll feed the moringa trees. So no part of these chickens went to waste. They lived a good life, and it was a traumatic day for us as well. Yes. Even though I can do it, and I'm confident in saying that I would do it again. As a matter of fact, I'm even talking about maybe doing a couple turkeys next time with some Cornish cross, because we actually got 20. We started off with 26 birds.
Yeah, we ordered 25, but 2 had splaylets, so they sent us an extra one.
Right.
And one of those died, so we ended up all 25. We lost the 26th one, but all 25 made it.
All 25 made it to the 8 weeks mark. And I'll do it again.
And they were happy. They lived in the chicken tractor, and they got fresh grass. Several times throughout the week we would move them, and when it was time to move them, and they were fed well, and
they got
protected from the hawks that tried to attack the cage.
Yeah, we had an issue one day where a hawk actually tried to get in the chicken tractor from both the front and the back. Yes. But we protected them from that, and they didn't get hurt at all through that process. We would definitely do it again. But it definitely was an eye-opening experience for us, because see, a lot of people don't know where their food comes from. They just go to the grocery store and they just buy this pre-packaged frozen chicken.
And you don't think about it.
You don't. But a life was given for you to be able to eat that nourishment. Even when you find some of the, and I respect both sides of the opinion, where people who won't eat animals because of for whatever the reason they pick, and those who do eat animals. But even the ones who don't eat animals, they protest. Say, well, why can't you go to the grocery store and get it? Why'd you have to kill them? Well, the ones in the grocery store got killed too, and they did
not have a good life.
They did not have a good life. A lot of those are just crammed in huge chicken houses and have miserable lives for 8 weeks. Ours had a great life for 8 weeks. They got moved around, got fresh grass, they got bugs, they got fed non-GMO organic chicken feed. So they didn't get the cheap stuff. The cheap stuff is like $15, $16 a bag.
And they got treats and.
Yeah, exactly. So the food that we bought,
they would come running to the door and almost bombard the door when we come in every morning, because they just loved it.
You want to talk about eating machines? Because they had access to food from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes.
And they weren't chickens. They were pigs.
We called them piglets.
Yeah, because
Justin Rhodes calls them sea monsters for a reason. They are monster eaters.
Right.
But we called them piglets.
Yep. And so they did. And the first probably 4 weeks, you could notice them growing a little bit. It wasn't until the second 4 weeks that their growth just really started expanding. Yeah. And we got some pretty good sized birds out. I think the smallest one we had.
Just under 3 pounds.
Well, and this is not their. I can't remember what they call the weight. There's a weight before you harvest it, and there's a weight after you harvest it.
Yeah, it's the harvested weight.
The harvested weight, the smallest one we had was.
The freezer weight.
Yeah, the smallest one we had was like 3 pounds something.
It was just under 3 pounds.
Yeah.
And then the biggest one we had, I think we had one that was almost 6 pounds.
Yeah. So average maybe 4.5-ish.
Yeah, high like 3.11 on up to 4.2.
And if you go to the store and buy organic chicken, a 5 pound, 4 pound organic chicken, that's going to cost you $15, $17.
And we know exactly what they ate.
And we know
exactly how they were treated.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
It was hard. After the evisceration table, we actually had a big food grade barrel with ice in it that we put them in, and they had to get down to, was
40
it like
degrees,
45 or something
yeah.
like that. 41, 45.
Yep.
I don't remember exact temperature, but
Yep.
they had to get down to that before we could put them in the freezer.
And the bag, well, you had to bag them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then once they got down to that temperature, we took them out, dried them off, bagged them in these shrink bags that you just put them in the bag and basically
Right.
stick it in for 3 or 4 seconds and
then tie wrap it and
shrinks
boom.
around it.
Yeah.
It's good to go. And put a label on it with the weight and
Yep.
stuck them in the freezer. So now we have a whole bunch of chicken that
we'll
we
show
can
you a
eat.
shot of our freezer
Yeah.
filled with chickens, and it's going to feed us for probably easily 6 months.
Yeah,
And-
maybe longer.
And we will be doing it again.
We have yet to eat one, just because
Yeah.
it was kind of traumatic for us.
Yes.
We have eaten chicken, so I'm sure
There'll come a time.
Soon there will be a time.
There'll come a time we'll be able to eat those chickens, but for the first week, as I told Barbie after we got done harvesting, I was like, look,
It was too fresh.
I can't go in there and eat them right now because
Yeah.
we know everything, but I'm starting to get to that point where we could probably do it pretty soon here. Yeah. And maybe on the next batch it'll be easier, and the next batch it'll be easier, and the next batch will be easier. But this is our
doubt it.
first time.
I doubt
Well, there's always going to be. You always want to appreciate the sacrifice.
Yes.
So there's always going to be that. And then the only other thing we really did was we built there's a 2-basin stainless steel sink that was in the yard when we bought the property. We made a sink out of that, and then
just added a table
Yeah.
to it. And
Yeah.
we're actually using the sink now. We're going to use it in the grill area later once we finishing that off,
Right.
making it pretty.
Right.
But for right now, we're using it as a garden sink, and it's great because I don't have to bring bugs in the house anymore. I just
Yep.
put all my greens and
Yep.
vegetables in there and wash them before they come in.
So we survived it, and the chickens were dispatched humanely. We will be doing it again. So until next time, live your own story.